So usually I'll have an initial conversation when they sign me up for a project, and I'll probably talk to the director and the series producer or the exec about what they're proposing to do, more as a kind of just filling me in on the project. And then they might say, have you got any ideas? Occasionally they'll do 2 or 3 shoots, so they might show me some rushes from the first shoot, or give me a ring and say, oh, we've got this, and talk me through anything. I mean, that's not necessarily on all productions. Often I'll just come in on the first day of the edit and I'll be completely briefed then. In the early stages, I quite like to be left alone a lot with the material and go through the rushes and get a feel for them. So, I mean, I'm editing a huge, long feature doc at the moment, so that stage lasted quite a long time, like weeks. On something a bit shorter, that would last less time, more like a few days. And then sometimes the director will drop in after a while, and then when we get nearer the wire, often it's working with the director, viewing and making changes together. But there's quite a lot of talking in between. And I also quite like breaking, I need frequent breaks, so I'll definitely always get up and have a walk and go out at lunchtime and kind of a bit of chat to break the ice, I always find. So I started out really early on my career working as an assistant everything to a small director of a very small independent production company. And we were going out shooting programmes on poets in New York. And I was literally doing a VAT return, camera assisting, everything that he didn't do. And then we got into the edit, and he sort of showed me how to edit in a way. And so I got a feel for it, and then he, I guess, encouraged me. I persuaded him to buy an Avid. It was really early days of Avid. And so I kind of I had a degree in architecture, so I quite liked structure, and I was familiar with computers. I mean, in those days, the storage block used to cost sort of, $9,000 or something ridiculous for about 3 gigabytes. I mean, it was insane. So that's how I got into it. And then for a while, I toyed between going the directing route or the editing route, but actually I hated banging phones. I was sort of happier in the dark, playing around. I think it's having to make something. It's this process of not really knowing. My favourite documentaries to work on are ones where the director's excited about the material, but nobody's got really an idea in hell of what the film's gonna look like at the end. And so it's really scary being in the dark. It's sort of like plunging into this abyss, but it's also quite exhilarating and exciting, and it's not easy, but I seem to be addicted to it. And then it's also kind of it's being able, it sounds cliche, but it's being able to tell people's stories and having this relationship, although it's not a live relationship with contributors, it's being able to distill something about them into a way that other people can understand them and hopefully kind of illuminate some bigger issue or theme. I think, as always, it was structure. It was how a lot of the stories were quite similar. So how do you make one person's story distinct from the other one? And that was the hardest thing. We work a lot with index cards, and there were quite a few iterations of scenes going on and characters that would come in and then we would drop them. Yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge. And also getting some of the scenes down. You just, as always, choosing which parts you actually want. And I think it's very, very easy. I mean, it's what I call kind of sort of poverty porn or distress porn. Like, there's a really delicate balance between being sensationalist and showing a necessary amount of distress and suffering that you get your message across. And I mean, Louis is really good at that anyway, because tonally, with humour, he does amazing things with humour and breaks the ice. And so for me, it's bringing Louis' sensibility and my sensibility and the director's sensibility on that all together. And we do have a lot of discussions about tone and, is that joke too much? And Louis is quite aware of that. So yeah, it's really great collaborating with him, which is why I've done it a lot. I think we all want what's best for the film, and there's very little ego involved. So, and he's very funny. He also never takes it too seriously. He takes the story very seriously, but there's never any blame or awkwardness or discomfort in the edit. So it's always a pleasure.